Hi, this is music teacher John. It's been a while since I've done a live stream, but I thought I'd try one kind of continuing the series that I had begun a couple years ago on how to learn the real, basics of how to play the piano. And so in the previous three videos in the series, I talked about chords and how they're so important and how they're just kind of a quick and easy way or a quick and easy tool to use to sort of begin playing music and enjoying music right away. A chord, as I said in the previous videos, is just a combination of notes that sound really good together. And I talked about, the different kinds of chords you can play, by just putting your hand on the keyboard and pushing down your 1, 3, and 5 finger, and how you can kind of play that in all sorts of places. Well, today I'm going to get into how to incorporate what we've talked about with chords into kind of weaving together what I call melody and harmony. So what is melody and harmony? Well, harmony is basically chords. It's that combination of multiple notes kind of coming together to form something nice and beautiful like that. What is a melody? Well, a melody is a lot of kind of individual notes, one after the other, right? So that's a melody. Now, when I think of melody and harmony, the example that I usually use with my students is to describe kind of like if you go to a band, right? So if you went to like one of your favorite concerts, to one of your favorite singers, right? And you see the singer up there, and she's singing her heart out, and she's got her whole band behind her. She is singing the melody. That's the melody. The melody is kind of like the main tune of a piece. And whereas the harmony is like the band, it's everything in the background. It's everybody else who's playing to kind of support her. So melody is kind of individual notes. Harmony is sort of like everything else in the background. And so typically when we're playing the piano, usually what happens is we play the harmony with our left hand, and we usually play the melody with our right hand. And the harmony is usually made up of chords, which I talked about in previous episodes. And the melody is typically played by the right hand, right? And when you put them together, you can create a beautiful song. Right? So my right hand's playing the melody, my left hand's playing the harmony, like that. One really great example, I think, of melody and harmony pulled together is Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, and it's this really famous tune called Ode to Joy. And so in Ode to Joy, the main melody is usually what people always remember. And the harmony is everything in the background. So harmony and melody are really great, and they kind of work together. So how do we bring this together? How do you pull it together in a song? Well, I'm going to talk in later videos more about how to read music and create melody and harmony in all of that. But for now, just to get you started, because these are beginner videos, I want to give you something that you can sort of do during the week. On your own, as you're just kind of sitting at the piano wanting to kind of make something up and sort of be creative. So here's some kind of beginning tips to sort of weaving together harmony and melody. One thing you want to do is to probably start your song with the C major chord and end your song with a C major chord. And every chord you play in between, don't bother playing any black keys, just play the white keys. So what do I mean by that? Well, this is a C note, and so this is a C chord. Okay. Now, the cool thing about this is that if you start with the C chord and end with the C chord, and just play a bunch of chords in between, just pushing down the white keys in this, sort of way, there's almost no chords you hit that is going to sound bad. Okay. So let me kind of give you an example. So let's say I'm starting with my C chord. I'm just going to hit random chords as I go. Alright, so I started on my C major chord and I ended on a C major chord, and it kind of creates its own sort of thing. Now, what do you do with the melody? How can you make up a melody or do something kind of interesting up here? So again, just as a beginner tactic, take your right hand, which is going to play the melody, put it in what we call C position. So C position is like you put it in a position so that you can play a C chord, but you're not going to play a C chord with your right hand. Instead, you're going to play individual notes, you know. And just keep your hand in that position. Don't worry about kind of going up here or down here. Just keep it right here. Use all 5 of your fingers just to play the notes that they're on. Okay. So what happens when we pull these together? Okay, I'm going to totally make this up. This is totally improvised. Didn't practice this at all, and I'm going to be totally random. Okay. If I bring that together, if I start with my C chord, end with a C chord, if I just kind of hit individual notes on my right hand, staying in C position, this is what you get. Okay, so what's great is that it's kind of foolproof, you know, and you can kind of sort of dip your toes into writing your own music or just having fun on the piano and improvising. So that's one of the first things you want to do. Now, if you want to get a little more fancy and you kind of want to try other kinds of chords, or maybe take your right hand and play melodies that are outside of that particular hand position, another little bit of advice to kind of pick notes that would sound good with your chords, or pick a melody that would sound good with your chords, is to play notes in the melody that sort of match the notes that you're playing in your left hand, that sort of match the notes that you're playing in your chords. So for example, if I'm pushing down this chord is made up of a D, an F, and an A. We actually call it a D minor chord. So D, F, and A. So if I'm pushing down that chord, I know for sure that if I'm playing a D, F, or A in my melody in my right hand, it's gonna sound good. Okay, it doesn't matter where I play the D, F, and A. It's gonna sound great every time. So if I move my hand to kind of like, you know, some other spot, here it's A, C, E. Any kind of A, C, E anywhere else in the piano is gonna sound great with it. So that's kind of another little pointer too as well, if you're wanting to kind of weave a melody and a harmony together, chords and individual notes. Now of course you can do more than that, but again, these are just beginner videos. And before you watch whatever other video I'm going to do after this, I'd recommend just practicing all that stuff on your own and sort of get creative and see what you can do with the harmony and the melody.